In this webinar, we'll cover the recent revisions to the points of focus for the AICPA's Trust Services criteria and how those revisions may impact your organization's SOC 2 audit. Before we get started, I'll take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Chris Collins, and I am a senior manager with LBMC. I work in our IT assurance practice and primarily work in our high trust and SOC service lines. I have over 14 years experience performing various types of internal and external audits for organizations of all sizes. First, we'll start off with some background information on the Trust Services criteria, or TSCs as they are commonly referred. The TSCs are control criteria established in 2017 by the Assurance Services Executive Committee within the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. They are a set of principles and criteria that provide guidance on how organizations can manage and control their information systems and data. The purpose of the TSCs are to set forth outcomes that controls should meet to achieve the assessed entity's objectives. Their intended use is for evaluation and reporting, regardless of controls implemented by the entity, which is a contrasting approach, as many other process and control frameworks mandate assessed entities to implement specific sets of controls. The TSCs are used by SOC 2 auditors to evaluate and report on the controls and processes that organizations have in place to safeguard their data. There are 5 trust services criteria, which are as follows. First, security. The AICPA definition of security is information and systems are protected against unauthorized access, unauthorized disclosure of information, and damage to systems that could compromise the availability, integrity, confidentiality, and privacy of information or systems and affect the entity's ability to meet its objectives. This criteria is also known as the common criteria since it is required to be included in all SOC 2 audits. The remaining criteria are considered optional, as not all trust services criteria are appropriate for all service providers. Next, we have the second criteria, availability. Availability is defined by the AICPA as information and systems are available for operation and use to meet the entity's objectives. The third criteria is processing integrity, which is defined as system processing is complete, valid, accurate, timely, and authorized to meet the entity's objectives. While this criteria is important for service providers that process transactions, it is less commonly included as many service providers do not process sensitive information. Fourth is confidentiality. The AICPA defines confidentiality as information designated as confidential is protected to meet the entity's objectives. The fifth and final criteria is privacy. Privacy is defined as personal information is collected, used, retained, disclosed, and disposed of to meet the entity's objectives. These last 2 criteria can sometimes be confused due to their similarities. However, privacy is focused on personal information, while confidentiality is focused on information determined to be confidential by way of regulatory or contractual requirements. For example, credit card information, intellectual property, or customer data. In the context of these trust services criteria, points of focus might include specific controls, policies, or procedures that are critical to ensuring the security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy of systems and data. By identifying and prioritizing these points of focus, organizations can improve their overall compliance with the applicable TSCs and enhance their ability to protect their systems and data. It is important to note that while the AICPA's 2022 revisions were to the Trust Services Criteria document, it was the points of focus that were updated, not the TSCs. These updates to the points of focus may assist both management and the practitioner when they are evaluating whether controls were suitably designed and operating effectively to achieve the entity's objectives based on the trust services criteria. As can be seen on this and the preceding slide, the TSCs with the greatest number of changes to the points of focus are security and privacy. Updates to availability and confidentiality are also included in the recent updates to a lesser degree. As you may have picked up, updates to the points of focus for security will have the greatest impact, in that security is included in all SOC 2 examinations. It is important to note that the applicability of a specific point of focus will depend on the unique service commitments and system requirements of the service organization and its control environment. Even with these recent revisions, the existing points of focus are not exhaustive for most service organizations. Conversely, the use of any criteria does not imply that all points of focus need to be met. Service organizations should work with their auditors to understand the impact these revisions to the points of focus may have on their controls. Updates to existing controls or the addition of new controls may be warranted. As a component of the 2022 revision to the TSCs, the AICPA updated the glossary by revising some definitions and adding new terms or phrases with definitions. Some key additions were the terms data controller, data processor, and functional and non-functional requirements. These updates were made with the intent to assist service organizations and service auditors in evaluating whether controls are well designed to meet the criteria and implemented and operating effectively. Included here are the prior and revised definitions of a SOC 2 examination. In the prior definition, the red text is what was removed, and in the revised definition, the red text is what was added. This updated definition adds details. However, there is no resulting changes to the intent of SOC 2 reports or their execution. Ultimately, the impact of the AICPA's revision of the TSC document will vary by service organization. It is best to consult with a qualified security or compliance expert to help you evaluate the impact these changes may have to your SOC 2 report. This concludes our presentation on the recent revisions to the points of focus for trust services criteria. We'd be happy to assist you in evaluating the impact these revisions may have on your SOC 2 audit. Feel free to reach out to me or Drew Hendrickson, our shareholder responsible for our SOC service line, with any questions you may have. You can also reach us through our website at lbmc.com.